What's up, guys? I'm Malone, and you're tuned in to Fame Magazine.
What's up, everybody? I'm Michelle Chia, and welcome to Fame Magazine. We're here at Club Space at one of the closing parties with actually one of their resident DJs, the creator of the event and label, Why Not Us. This is Malone, the one and only. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great.
All
Thank you for
rested?
having me. Thank you guys for coming.
Of course, of course.
Cheers.
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 Tequila just came in time, actually.
We have Abigail here.
Abigail is actually
Joined us
our
for the
special
interview.
guest for today.
For the interview.
But so this is actually a full circle for you. You actually started back here in 2014, first-time performer at The Ground, and now at one of the closing parties, so now being an esteemed resident DJ. How does that feel? How does that feel to be played tonight?
It's crazy. So that party, the first time I played at Space in The Ground, I actually showed up with my own controller, and I plugged into the mixer.
Because you didn't know how to play CDJs at the time, right?
I had never played on CDJs before, so
Crazy.
it was intense, and it was on the ground floor, like back then, like when they used to do the parties. And yeah, full circle, like 10 years later, we're now on the Terrace. Being a resident of Space is like probably one of the coolest things that I've ever been able to do. It's such a prestigious brand club. It's like an establishment that's been in Miami for such a long time, and it's world renowned around the world. Everyone respects Space, so
yeah.
For me, it means a lot to not only be a resident, but to be able to play the closing parties this week.
Space is really that place.
Yeah, it really is.
Could you share a little bit more of that journey of how you went from starting off at The Ground to now being a resident DJ?
So yeah, I mean, just being a local DJ in any city, especially Miami, fortunate enough to have a big group of friends, always, playing parties and having a bunch of people come out. So I was kind of like a promoter DJ when I first started, just trying to sell as many tickets, and then people would book me because they knew that I would bring a lot of people. And then just kind of on that journey, just playing parties and, networking, being out. I feel like, you need to be present in your community. It doesn't matter what city you're from. If you're a local DJ, to become a resident, you need to go out and support other artists. You need to be present. So the combination of that mixed with the journey of, making music, releasing music, playing parties all over the world. And, it's just like a journey, just building blocks, little by little, small wins that end up, leading you to a position like this.
Yeah. If you could travel back to that time in 2014, what would be something that you would tell that yourself?
Stop playing the music that I was playing. I was playing. I mean, back then, it was the whole EDM boom. Everyone was playing big room, melodic stuff. And then I feel like any artist, it takes time for you to really find who you are as an artist, the music that you really like, the music that really speaks to you, the music that you're really passionate about. And the cool thing about electronic music is that there's so many genres, right? There's hundreds of genres, and the music is constantly changing. So with that involvement, trying to find yourself as an artist is really important. And now I'm finally in a place that I really, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, and I feel good about it.
And that's kind of something of what you're doing with Why Not Us. You started a new event series and label. Could you talk about the reason why you did something like that?
Yeah, so I had actually started a label, Hurry Up Slowly, about 3 years ago. And we were doing crazy events, doing a bunch of different things. And then I kind of wanted just to focus on my career, just my solo artist career for a while. And then now I felt was the perfect time where I was at, with my music, with my career. I wanted to start another label and just, my own label to put out my music, but also to, sign music from different artists from all over the world. And also give them a platform to play, the events when I do them.
Yeah. How do you think that will shape the music industry coming up?
I think it's great. I feel like a lot of artists nowadays are very independent. These big labels, it's getting harder and harder and harder to sign music to these big labels and get on these big labels. So I feel like a lot of artists are starting to, start their own labels, start their own thing, and kind of make their way that way, right? So yeah. I feel like the brand, having an additional brand, a label or an event series like Why Not Us, it really helps elevate the artist as an individual. So I'm just focusing on that right now. Hopefully, we could just do both at the same time.
And the brand name is actually super cool. Why Not Us? Can you tell a little bit more about the story behind that?
Yeah, so I actually started doing Why Not Us parties before COVID.
Wow.
Yeah, I had done a couple of them. I had come up with the name and the idea a while ago. And it was just kind of not like an underdog story, but it's kind of one of those things if everybody else is doing it and why can't you do it, right? Like, you have the same amount of talent, you have the same amount of hard work. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. And then, after COVID, we started Hurry Up Slowly, so that kind of took a back seat. And then, it's something, I actually was going to do something completely different with a different name. But then I was like, you know what? Everybody, like, really responded to that name. A lot of people like it. So I just kind of wanted to bring it back. And then now it's like, it's full throttle.
Yeah, I think it's a great name. It was beautifully made. Your music actually also beautifully merges kind of Latin roots and tech house beats, coming from a Cuban background yourself, and growing up listening to songs like from the Bee Gees and salsa. How do you think that really shaped your approach toward music production?
Yeah, I mean, it's always been very present in my life. Music has always been very present in my life. I grew up, listening to, bands like the Bee Gees, and like, still to this day, like, my favorite era of music is like that 80s, 90s salsa.
Classic.
It's just like classic music, a lot of drums, a lot of percussion, a lot of soul, a lot of feeling. So I try to incorporate that in all my songs. Making songs that really resonate with people, and you actually feel something when you listen to it. And then, obviously combining that with kind of this new underground lane that I'm in, like with Afro House, and just making a lot of deeper stuff. So, I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's been, everyone's been really receptive to it. I feel like nowadays, there's like kind of like no rules. Like back then, like, people had to like kind of stick to like a certain genre or a certain style of music. And I feel like now everyone's like just merging. Like, the really underground guys are playing commercial music or playing with commercial guys. Commercial guys are playing underground music. It's just like one big thing. So to me, I think that's great, because it just elevates everybody, and it just puts the industry in a really good spot.
That's what house music should be at the end of the day.
Yeah, of course.
Very welcoming, opening.
Yeah.
So I think Un Beso actually really captures the essence of that, and the essence of, I would even call it, Miami. Can you talk a little bit the creative process behind that track?
So Un Beso, I actually found the sample online, and the moment I heard it, I was like, wow, I loved it, right? It's just like a little catchy vocal, and then I chopped up one of the vocals for the drop, for the ticket, on the drop. I mean, that's kind of how I start my creative process. I always like search and dig for samples that are really cool, that kind of catch your attention, that are memorable, and then just kind of like, building the groove from scratch, bass line, percussion, and then kind of everything else just kind of fills in, once you kind of have like the main ingredients, everything else is just kind of like really repetitive and just kind of filling out the track.
Yeah, I think that one, and probably 444 is probably my
favorite.
444
is really cool too.
Yeah,
it's funny because
I have a 333 tattoo, so it kind of speaks to me.
Nice. Yeah, so 444, that I actually had that sample in one of my folders that I have a bunch of samples in for years. And I was just going through a bunch of old stuff, and I found it, and I was like, wow, I'm just gonna bring this back, and I felt like it was a really cool way to kind of launch the label. So yeah, that's kind of like the story behind 444.
Nice. Yeah. And so you yourself, you work with big names like Blondish, even Calusa, Nick Fanchuli. But if you could step out of the house genre, who would you like to collaborate with in the future?
I mean, for me, I would love to just work with, like, very, very like Hispanic Latin artists. My boy right here that's in the room, Giancarlos, is actually a very, very talented megastar Latin artist. But if I had to like pick, it would be really cool to be able to kind of like flip or remix, some of these like really, really cool, like hot reggaeton guys that are just killing it right now.
Nice.
I feel like Latin music it's been, very strong as of late, but I feel like it's going to continue to take over the world, because it's just, the flavor, the swag, the vibe.
Everybody loves Latin
Everyone
music,
loves Latin music.
I think a lot of big players here that are kind of getting mixed into the scene is like Young Miko, Fade. A lot of their music's getting remixed, and it's just great.
So I actually have a remix for Jay Wheeler and Fade.
Nice.
That we actually got some news on, that we're gonna hopefully be able to put it out in a couple weeks. So
very exciting. We're very excited to look forward to that. So becoming a father is a huge monumental life change. Congratulations to you and your wife, by the way.
Thank you.
How has this new role changed your perspective on like music and life in general?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, the baby it's 24/7. Like, we have a nanny. My parents help. Her parents help. It's really time consuming. It's amazing. I mean, the cool thing is that I usually only play on the weekends. So Friday, I usually travel out Friday, and then I always try to take the red eye on Sunday straight from the club, so I could be home as soon as possible.
Love that.
So I'm home on Sundays by like midday, and then during the week I'm just home all day helping, being with the fam. So it's
love that. And the wife's back at home taking care of it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Yeah.
So Why Not Us has worked with artists like Kai William, Amal, Desendel, and Damelo. What can fans kind of look forward to upcoming projects in the upcoming year? You said something about Jay Wheeler and Fade. Is there anything else that you're looking forward to?
So I signed a deal with Empire Records that they actually distribute a bunch of like big labels or whatnot. So most of the music that I'm going to be putting out is going to be on Why Not Us. So I'm really excited about that. This summer, for the next, I think, 4 months, I'm just going to put out a bunch of music. Just a bunch of like, tech house, grooves, like dance floor, like music. And then my goal is for the fall, to finally, start signing music from other artists, like like not only putting music out of my own, like putting out other artists, like music from other artists.
Yes, your Miami VA. I was very.
Yeah, it
very
was a strong
excited
one. It was
for
a good one.
Yes, it was bangers after bangers.
Yeah.
And I'm not being biased. But yeah, I want to thank you for your time again. I'm very much looking forward to your set in a couple of minutes, I'm sure.
It's gonna be a good time.
Yes, where can people find you?
Malone Music, OFC, everywhere.
There you go. You guys heard it. Stay in touch for Malone. We'll see you guys soon. This was Fame Magazine. Michelle and Malone, thank you again. Thank you, Abigail.
That was great. Thank you.